Moving on, let's talk about Angel Reese. She has also gone viral today for many of reasons, but the one that a lot of people are picking up on is when she is walking over to the bench and she slaps the clipboard out of her coach's hand.
On national television, Angel Reese walked over to her bench and slapped a clipboard straight out of her coach's hands. The internet exploded. In minutes, she was labeled a toddler, unprofessional, and an embarrassment. The world demanded she be fined, suspended, and punished for the blatant act of disrespect, but the punishment never came. In fact, what happened next was a twist no one saw coming because the person she supposedly assaulted did something shocking. She defended her. The story you saw online wasn't the full truth, and the reality is far more controversial than a simple temper tantrum.
The emotional decline continues for Angel Reese. The temper tantrums, the complete loss of emotional control continues for the Bayou Barbie, as well as the Chi-Town Barbie and Double Double Barbie, and whatever other alias that Angel Reese has decided to give herself.
To understand the slap, you have to understand the pressure cooker that produced it. The Chicago Sky were locked in a brutal, down-to-the-wire battle against the Washington Mystics. It was a game they were desperate to win, but everything was going wrong. The stakes were high, and the air in the arena was thick with tension. For rookie Phenom Angel Reese, the frustration had been building all night long. Every missed shot felt like a personal failure. Every foul call that didn't go her way felt like a conspiracy. The bitter taste of an impending narrow loss was simmering just below the surface, a volcano of emotion waiting to erupt.
Look, in social media discourse, it is going to be remembered for nothing more than this. It's the only thing people are going to remember it for, is Angel Reese tie game 29 seconds ago in frustration.
As she walked off the court and toward the bench in the game's final agonizing moments, that frustration boiled over. She stormed past assistant coach Ann Waters, and in a flash of white-hot anger, slapped the clipboard straight out of her hands. This wasn't a subtle tap or a frustrated wave. It was a full-force smack, a crack of plastic on skin that, while maybe not loud in the arena, was deafening on the broadcast. The clipboard clattered to the floor, and for a moment, the game of basketball stopped mattering entirely. A new, more dramatic spectacle.
I was like, good God, she can't get out of her own way. And I don't give a rat's how frustrated she is. The Chicago Sky should suspend her for this. They won't, because they're too damn scared of her fans.
Before the final buzzer even sounded, the internet had already appointed itself judge, jury, and executioner. The clip was everywhere, stripped of all context and served up as raw, unfiltered rage. It was a digital wildfire, spreading across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok with terrifying speed. The verdict was swift and merciless. Angel Reese was a toddler throwing a tantrum. She was disrespectful, unprofessional, and an embarrassment to the league. The narrative was set in stone almost immediately. This was the definitive proof that the Bayou Barbie was nothing more than a spoiled child who couldn't handle the pressure of the pros. Memes flooded social media, with users mockingly comparing her to an angry customer demanding to speak to the manager at a fast food restaurant. The incident was no longer a moment of athletic frustration, it was a full-blown character assassination, and Reese, with her history of on-court theatrics, was the perfect villain. Every critic who had ever called her arrogant or immature now had their smoking gun, their receipt, and they were firing at will, determined.
Angel Reese and her building frustration, it ended up being taken out on an unlikely target. Instead of arguing with an egg, instead of taking out her frustration on WNBA officials, Angel Reese decided to unleash her latest tirade on one of her coaches.
It was the question that was as predictable as it was explosive. In every comment section, on every sports talk show, and in every group chat, the argument echoed, what if Caitlin Clark had done that? Fans and critics alike painted a vivid and damning picture. They argued that if the league's golden girl, Caitlin Clark, had marched over and smacked a clipboard out of her coach's hands, the consequences would have been apocalyptic. They imagined an immediate ejection from the game, followed by front-page headlines decrying her anger issues. They envisioned hefty fines, a multi-game suspension, and a tearful league-mandated public apology tour.
Today is another day of the Angel Reese drama because she has simply smacked the clipboard out of an assistant coach's hands. Yes, now all of this went down during the Washington missed this game. This happened on national television. Now, guys, I'm not one to blow up negativity, but Angel Reese supposed to be leading young women and being a great example to girls and kids all over the world. Well, I'm here to tell you, she was not leading by example today.
This argument wasn't just about a hypothetical situation. It was a powerful commentary on the perceived double standard that shadows the WNBA's two biggest rookies. It tapped directly into the deep-seated narrative that Angel Reese is allowed to be passionate and aggressive, while Caitlin Clark is expected to remain stoic and professional no matter how many times she's hip-checked to the floor. The clipboard incident instantly became another proxy war in the ongoing rivalry, fueling the fire of two fan bases that see the world and the league through two completely different lenses.
We're unbelievably soft. That led to Angel Reese breaking a coach's clipboard, walking over and slapping a coach's clipboard. And by the way, if this was Caitlin Clark, you just know they'd be calling out her anger problems. It was an all-around badly refereed game. I think
While the internet was busy debating a fictional punishment for Caitlin Clark, the one person whose opinion actually mattered was about to speak. Ann Waters, the assistant coach and former WNBA star on the receiving end of the slap, was expected to be furious, or at the very least professionally disappointed. The world waited for her to confirm their outrage, to validate their judgment of Reese. Instead, she did something absolutely no one saw coming. She defended Angel Reese completely and unequivocally. In a social media post that sent shockwaves through the online world, Waters dismissed the entire ordeal as a non-event.
Backs the clipboard out the assistant coach hands. Just not a good look from Angel Reese as a basketball player. Just like I stated, man, she's supposed to be a leader among young women across the world. And this ain't showing very much leadership. I just gotta be honest here, dog. To me, this behavior that Angel Reese has been displaying is embarrassing to her, her team, but more importantly, the coach.
She called it nothing more than a moment of competitive fire and intense passion. She assured everyone that she and Reese were all good, and that this is simply what happens when you have a team full of fierce competitors who despise losing. Suddenly, the story was flipped on its head. The supposed victim was denying there was ever a crime. The internet's airtight narrative of a disrespectful assault had just been publicly dismantled by the very person it was meant to protect, leaving the outrage mob with a crucial question. Who are we to be offended on behalf of someone who isn't even offended?
But this is some Bush League lack of respect. This behavior can't happen. It can't happen. Look at it. You slap a keyboard out of the coach's hand, they ought to give you 2 to 5 games for that. Are you kidding me? That is one of the most disrespectful acts I've ever witnessed by a professional athlete towards their...
With the coach's surprising blessing, the incident suddenly seemed less like an isolated meltdown and more like another carefully placed brick in the wall of the Angel Reese brand. This is, after all, a player who has built an empire on controversy. She exploded into a household name not just for her championship-winning talent, but for taunting Caitlin Clark with the "you can't see me" gesture on the biggest stage in college basketball. Since turning pro, she has fully embraced the villain role, collecting flagrant fouls and engaging in a brand of physical, unapologetic play that gets under her opponent's skin.
It's tough when you talk to officials and I ask them, hey, we only shot 2 free throws. We've only been to the free throw line twice up into the fourth quarter, and she tells me it's not her job. It's frustrating, and I don't give a damn if I get fined because that's cheap, and I am tired of it because I've been nice and I've been humble with it, but I am...
What are we doing? Part of her problem is she's got a severe lack of maturity, but she'd go on a blocking spree for anybody that's critical about her. You want to be critical about people being critical about you? How about you not acting like this? Because, yeah, people are going to destroy you over it.
Meanwhile,
She has openly challenged the media, creating an us against the world mentality that her loyal fan base adores. This forces a bigger question. Are these genuine emotional outbursts, or is this all part of a calculated strategy? In an era where attention is the most valuable currency, maybe a viral slap, a few angry tweets, and a villainous reputation are more profitable than a quiet, clean record. Maybe Angel Reese isn't losing control at all. Maybe she's masterfully curating it, knowing that in the modern world of sports, it's better to be talked about for the wrong reasons than to not be talked about at all.
And it's resulted in physical alterations on the court that don't get called as fouls, that the girls then deny were intentional. And Caitlin Clark always takes the high road. She never, points the finger, but it happened again.
Coach's hands. Now, if this were an isolated incident, would it be a big deal? No. The problem is, it's not an isolated incident. For starters, you don't want your antics to overshadow your performance, which has been a constant problem for Angel Reese throughout her career. She is more known for her behavior than pretend basketball. But if I'm the Chicago Bravado, I'm not worried about Angel Reese slapping some doofus clipboard. I would be worried about the reason that Angel Reese slapped the clipboard. In the span of—
As speculation swirled about a looming and severe punishment, the world waited for the WNBA to bring the hammer down. Pundits and fans alike predicted a swift and decisive response. They claimed a hefty fine was not just likely, but inevitable. A multi-game suspension was surely on the table. Some even suggested mandatory behavioral counseling to fix her alleged anger issues. The league, they argued, had to make an example out of her to protect its credibility and professional image. But then, the days passed, and a strange, deafening silence fell over the entire affair. The WNBA issued no official statement. The Chicago Sky announced no disciplinary action. There was no fine. There was no suspension. There was absolutely nothing. The white-hot outrage that had burned so brightly online was met with a complete and total lack of official response. This raised an even bigger, more unsettling question. If her own team and the league saw it as a non-issue, was the public's fury completely manufactured, or is Angel Reese now so essential to—
You did it. You did this. And she's getting destroyed. The lack of respect for the coach is actually hilarious. If that would have been a technical for Caitlin Clark for not respecting the game. You see that comment. Yikes.
the reaction from other players was telling.
Angel Reese unleashed a tirade on WNBA officials. Now, even though she was right in what she was saying, it was clear she was visibly frustrated. Following game on Tuesday, she's slapping a clipboard out of the hands of her strength and conditioning coach. To me, these are signs of a frustrated Barbie. These are signs of a Barbie that's tired of losing. You know, adversity exposes your true character. Losing exposes your flaws.
While the internet was a wildfire of fan outrage, the professional talking heads of sports media were more than happy to pour gasoline on it. Figures from major networks immediately seized on the clip, playing it on a loop as they debated her character. The hot take industrial complex went into overdrive. One side condemned her with righteous fury, calling her actions a disgrace and demanding the league make an example of her to teach a lesson about respect. They framed it as a sign of a deeper rot in modern sports culture, a lack of discipline and an excess of entitlement. On the other side, some tried to offer a more nuanced view, pointing to the heat of the moment, but their voices were drowned out by the screams of outrage. The media machine knows that controversy sells, and Angel Reese was the hottest commodity on the market. They didn't just report the story, they amplified it, turning a 2-second clip into a week-long trial on every screen in America. But while they were busy debating her fate, the one person—
Reese deserves a hefty fine for publicly disrespecting a coach. I'm gonna be interested to see, will Tyler Marsh actually address this? Will the franchise actually address this? Or are they too scared of people that I believe are not actually basketball fans, by the way?
Maybe this punishment...
None of it addresses my point. My point is, she's the golden goose. You have been clamoring for attention. You've been clamoring for more cachet, fair and equitable treatment, chartered jets, weight room facilities, dollars, marketing opportunities, etc., etc., etc.
In the face of a global firestorm, most modern athletes would have been rushed into a crisis meeting, emerging with a carefully worded apology written by a team of PR experts. They would have talked about letting their emotions get the best of them and learning from the experience. Angel Reese did the exact opposite. Nothing. There was no apology, there was no explanation. There wasn't even a cryptic tweet acknowledging the drama. Instead, she went on social media and acted as if the biggest controversy of her professional career simply hadn't happened. She posted about fashion, promoted her brand deals, and engaged with her fans, all while completely ignoring the inferno raging around her. This wasn't just silence, it was a statement. It was a masterclass in brand control, a powerful declaration that she would not bend the knee to public pressure. She refused to let the outrage mob dictate her narrative or force an apology she clearly didn't feel she needed to give. By refusing to play the part of the penitent athlete, she solidified her.
More specifically, well, yesterday, Angel Reese took to Twitter and said, "Y'all be feeling too entitled, thinking y'all opinions matter about somebody else's life instead of minding your own business. I promise you win at life when you just live your own life and mind your own business. I promise."
With no official punishment from the league, the real consequences of the clipboard slap won't be seen on the court, but on billboards and in bank statements. This incident has drawn a razor-sharp line in the sand, highlighting the two diverging paths to superstardom in the modern WNBA. On one side, you have the Caitlin Clark model, corporate-friendly, polished, and professional, a brand built on poise and record-breaking performance that makes sponsors feel safe. On the other side, you have the Angel Reese model, edgy, authentic, and unapologetically controversial, a brand built on a villain persona that cultivates a fiercely loyal cult-like following. The question now is, which model wins in the long run? Is Reese's constant drama alienating major companies who fear the next viral meltdown, or is she building a more powerful, resilient brand by being real, attracting companies that want to tap into her raw authenticity? This is the new battleground of the WNBA. It's no longer just about winning games, it's about winning the marketing war, and Reese is betting her entire empire on the belief that in 2024, controversy is more valuable than conformity.
If I'm the Chicago Bravado, I would be worried about Angel Reese demanding a trade. Earlier in the season, she had no one to blame but herself, but over the last 4, maybe 5 weeks, Angel Reese has been dominant and you're still losing.
She's only in her second year, by the way. Who cares? I don't care about that. Loser behavior. This guy says $50 fine.
But while the world was debating her brand, a much quieter, more important drama was unfolding behind closed doors. How did her own teammates, the women who share a locker room with her every single day, react to the slap? This is the one angle the cameras couldn't capture, and the one question that reveals everything about her true role on the team. Did they see a passionate leader willing to show her fire, or did they see an unstable teammate creating unnecessary chaos? There are two possibilities. One is that this act created a toxic rift, with veteran players rolling their eyes at the rookie's antics, viewing it as a sign of immaturity that could derail their season. But there's another, more likely possibility, that they rallied around her. The Chicago Sky, like many professional teams, may thrive on an us-against-the-world mentality. To them, the outside noise from media and fans is irrelevant. Inside their circle, Angel being Angel might be accepted or even encouraged as part of what makes her a fierce competitor. The team's public silence could be a sign of absolute unity, a fragile truce, or a warning that what happens in their locker room stays in their locker room.
It is abundantly clear the losing is getting to her. The frustration is starting to show. I think one of the reasons that Angel Reese has been more subdued on social media, you can't talk shit when you're losing.
She's become more insufferable every game. Look at this. Get this ugly something off my screen. So disrespectful and full of herself.
In the end, the story of the clipboard slap reveals a fractured and fascinating reality. To millions on the internet, Angel Reese is a spoiled brat. To her own coaches, she's a passionate warrior. The media painted her as a menace, while she portrayed herself as unbothered. The public demanded punishment, but the league, in its deafening silence, rendered that outrage powerless. The truth is, Angel Reese is no longer just a basketball player. She is a cultural phenomenon, a lightning rod for complex discussions about race, rivalry, and what we demand from our female athletes. The incident proved that her every move will be scrutinized, clipped, and weaponized to fit a pre-written narrative. Perhaps the slap says less about her true character and more about our desperate collective need to define her. And in the face of that immense pressure, Angel Reese has made her strategy clear. Let the world talk, let them rage, and let them judge. She'll just keep playing the game, both on and off the court.